Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video, it's summer's over. It's back to Prime Minister's questions. Parliament is back after the reset, though it will be disrupted again before long because we'll be coming up to party conference season in a few weeks. Also, before I get onto Boris Johnson's latest evasions and nonsense, and a look at how Keir Starmer for Labour and Ian Blackford for the SNP want to squeeze the government this season when they've got quite a few choices. Apologies for the missed video yesterday morning. Seemed to cause some alarm. A lot of people go, what's going on? It was just a cock up. It was very hot and I was distracted throughout Monday with lots of different things, which is when that video was recorded, but I forgot to upload it. So that'll be up next. Tuesdays I do something else, so everything goes out of my mind then. But anyway, back to politics. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news in politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So this was a bit of a first as a PMQs. It was the first PMQs between Boris Johnson and Keir Starmer with a packed House of Commons. The coronavirus measures have been dropped, so no more social distancing there. This is very ill-advised for reasons I'll go over in a moment. But it is what it is. Boris Johnson has been desperate for this for some time. He needs to have his braying donkeys behind him. He's an entertainer more than a statesman, really. He depends on the approving crowd to give him purpose. And his backbenchers duly obliged by cheering on every pointless thing he said. But this is how politics works in this country. Even when we don't have such appalling governments, that's just how it works. And there are a number of potential lines of attack that Keir Starmer could have used, first of all, against Boris Johnson. The summer has not provided any boost at all to the government's credibility. Nothing has gone well. You know, we could be talking about the COVID infection rates. They've jumped up by 13.6% in the last week, or the death rate, which has increased by 39% in the last week. I think that one's a little bit of an aberration. But the trend for infections, hospitalisations and deaths has been relentlessly upwards. And now schools are back throughout the country and will be heading into the autumn. Starmer could have tackled the supply chain crisis, which Labour are ramping up a bit. He might have even mentioned the B word. But no, not just yet, if at all. But he chose to tackle Johnson's broken election promises over health and social care, which is an obvious line of attack for the government. It's one of those things that a lot of the public, it doesn't really matter what people might think are more important or more urgent right now. That is always going to be in people's minds. I did wonder if he would, given that this was debated the previous day as well. But I think it was just too obvious a platform for any opposition party, but certainly for Labour. Because the Conservatives talk a good fight on health and social care during every election campaign. But all they actually ever deliver is an even worse situation come the next election. Come the next election, when the Tories have been in power, the situation with health and social care is always worse. There are always excuses, of course, including blaming the party that's in opposition and promises to do better next time. Oh, you've got these plans, these awesome plans. And no one ever sort of thinks, well, you said you had plans last time. And the time before that as well. And it just keeps getting worse every time. But on this occasion, the subject was something no large group of voters wants, because it means an increase of taxes to go with it, which was expressly ruled out in the manifesto. And it's not even delivering the guarantees on social care. From the government's point of view, this policy was about preventing people being forced to sell their homes to pay for care. So Starmer pushed Johnson to state clearly that this would be the case with his plans. But he couldn't. He wouldn't be drawn on that. I mean, when a Prime Minister presents plans with a particular aim, and all you do is to ask them to confirm that this aim will be achieved. Basically, Boris Johnson announces a plan with this aim. Okay, can you confirm that this aim will be met? No. Well, shouldn't that be an easy affirmative? Of course, I've just presented this plan. It has these aims. Of course, these aims will be met. But Boris Johnson says, I'm presenting this plan. It has these aims. Will these aims be met? Probably not. I mean, I had to laugh. In the video I did yesterday when I talked about this social care issue based on the previous day's parliamentary rumble, I said that Johnson would just respond to any criticism by saying his government was taking the tough decisions. He used exactly that line yesterday. It was no great insight on my part. He does it all the time. The most indecisive Prime Minister the country has had in my lifetime, probably for some time, talks more about taking tough decisions than any other I can remember. It's a common phrase for politicians, but I've never heard one say it so often. And it's like chapter 1 of The Guide to Fascism, isn't it? When you're doing something naughty, claim loudly that you believe in the polar opposite so that people won't suspect you. You know, he talks all the time of taking tough decisions. He's really one for taking tough decisions. In fact, when Johnson was pressed to at least confirm that these plans would clear the backlog for NHS treatments during this Parliament, couldn't even do that. Because the government are trying to get out of actually using the extra taxes for social care. So I mentioned yesterday that they couldn't even confirm that the extra taxes raised would be spent on social care. So the government are saying, yeah, but we're going to use the money to clear the NHS backlog first of all. So that's what they say it's for. We're going to use it to clear the NHS backlog. But then they can't guarantee it will even clear the NHS backlog. So we'll be having to pay extra taxation that we were guaranteed wouldn't happen. And on top of that, we don't get any guarantees that the money raised will be used to achieve any of the aims that the government say this money is for. And Johnson tried asking his own questions as usual. He asked whether Starmer would be voting in favour of the proposals, as Labour's position is that any taxation to be raised for the job, which the party don't oppose, should be a burden for those with the broadest shoulders to pay their fair share, said Starmer. Now, at the point at which I'm recording this, the vote hasn't taken place. Who knows what happened? But basically, you know, the point is, from Labour's point of view, we shouldn't be taxing the poor to pay for the wealthy. Should actually work the other way around, really. So I think I can guess which way Labour are voting on that one. It ended up with a baffling bit of grandstanding even for Johnson. Starmer gave the example of a single mother working in a nursing home who is about to have her wages cut by £87 a month by the government because her actual wages aren't enough to live on, so she gets paid universal credit, which is being cut by the government. So Starmer then said, so what does the Prime Minister think of her? Johnson said, every sympathy, of course. But what she needs is a dynamic economy. Now, here's the thing. Let's say the Conservatives were able to deliver this dynamic economy, despite the fact that in 11 years of government they don't seem to have done so, despite the fact that right now the only dynamism they're injecting into this economy is downwards. How exactly does that help this nursing home worker? Even hypothetically, even if you buy this Tory idea about how they're going to boost the economy, how does that help her? Unless he means that this dynamic economy means she'll soon have access to much better paying jobs. In which case, is he seriously suggesting that it is his economic policy to create even larger shortages of care workers in the country? Because that's what he'd be suggesting. Because here's the thing, let's say he achieved this economic growth, which he won't, but let's say he grew the economy compared with where it was when he first took power. Okay, that means inflation will cause everything else to increase in price. So if her wages are being reduced, but the price of things is increasing, that's not helping her, is it? That's hindering her. Then Ian Blackford for the SNP, he took a similar line, with obviously a Scotland-centric focus. He said that Johnson was imposing a Tory poll tax on Scotland, balancing the books on the back of the poor and the young. It's quite funny. The PMQs just before summer, I was saying that Starmer and Blackford were attacking Johnson over the same things. And that hasn't happened that much. Every now and then it happens. When it does happen, it has to be because it's considered to be a major weakness for the government. Because Blackford has as many potential lines of attack as Starmer, with the luxury that none of them split his support base. You know, he suffers no political fallout from talking about Brexit, for example. But the focus from Blackford was less about health and social care, which is, after all, devolved in Scotland. So the application of that care is for his party in government. The focus was on the taxes, whereas for Labour it was on the taxes and the delivery of health and social care. So the SNP were criticising this extra tax on the young and the poor, as he said, as well as the cuts to universal credit and other income support, which is happening this month. Now, Johnson tried to counter that by saying, well, when the Labour government put up national insurance, the current Deputy First Minister of Scotland supported it. He tried to present this as some sort of double standards, potentially missing the point that progressive parties in this country are not opposed to tax rises, nor are the people of this country. That's only the Tories. But other parties want to see that money raised spent on benefiting those paying for it. Like under Labour, you could see the benefit of the money raised on shorter waiting times for treatment and reductions in child poverty. What's that? It was helping the poor? Fantastic. All reversed and with fury by the Tories when they came into power. An increase in taxation is not a problem in itself. It is a problem when you tax the poor to pay for the rich. Or perhaps Johnson does get it but knows that his supporters don't. But I genuinely don't think he gets it either. He doesn't see ordinary people as people. You know, there's this ruling class and there are the serfs. It's almost like a medieval vampire. The people around are just cattle for your own sustenance. He's stuck in this feudal state of decay that this country has been trying to move on for generations now. But of course, we keep getting dragged back by an archaic system of democracy that allows these munchkins to wield so much power with so little popular support. But there we are. That was the first PMQs of this new session, effectively. There'll be a few more, and then it'll be the party conference season. I'm really looking forward to what happens after the party conference season. The tone will be very much set by how successful, particularly Labour and the Conservatives, have over their own conference. But anyway, that was it for the first week. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.